Overthinking at work is something we've all experienced. Whether it's stressing about the tone of an email, doubting your decisions, or worrying about how your team is reacting to feedback, there are countless moments when our minds just won't let go of a thought. In today's fast-paced, information-heavy world, we're all at risk of getting stuck in our heads. But here's the thing, overthinking is not just a minor inconvenience. It's a real productivity killer. It slows decision-making, increases anxiety, and can even lead to burnout. So how can we break free from this cycle? Today, we're going to dive deep into the three main types of overthinking, explore how they manifest in the workplace, and provide actionable strategies to help you regain control over your thoughts and start making better decisions. Overthinking is incredibly common, especially in work environments where there's constant pressure to perform. Studies show that nearly 75% of adults experience overthinking at least occasionally. And while deep thinking is essential for problem solving and making thoughtful decisions, overthinking takes it too far. It doesn't help us make better decisions. It just keeps us stuck. Now, there are three primary types of overthinking we need to understand: rumination, future tripping, and overanalyzing. Each of these can manifest differently in our work life, but they all have one thing in common: they prevent us from moving forward. Let's break them down. First up, we have rumination. This is when we get stuck replaying past events, especially the negative ones. For example, maybe you're thinking about a mistake you made in a meeting last week, or obsessing over some feedback you received that didn't sit right with you. Rumination keeps you in the past. It's a mental loop where you revisit negative experiences over and over, often with a focus on what went wrong. You might replay your conversations, reanalyze your decisions, and dwell on everything you could have done differently. One of the most common signs of rumination is when you fixate on negative feedback. You start to doubt your abilities, second-guess your choices, and feel like you're stuck in a cycle of self-blame. So, how do we break free from rumination? The key is schedule worry time. This might sound counterintuitive, but it works. Instead of letting negative thoughts occupy your mind all day, set aside 15-30 minutes to focus on them. During this time, let yourself fully process your worries, but then move on when those thoughts pop up during the day. Gently remind yourself, "Not now, I'll tackle this later." This helps you create some distance and regain control over your mind. Another effective technique is visualization. If a worry keeps resurfacing, try imagining it as a balloon and mentally releasing it into the sky. This visualization helps you detach from the worry and stop it from taking up mental space. Next, we have future tripping. This happens when you become preoccupied with what might happen in the future. The unknowns, the what-ifs, and the potential outcomes of your decisions. It's that feeling when you start worrying about every possible scenario and get overwhelmed with future possibilities. Future tripping can make it hard to celebrate your current successes because you're always thinking about what's next. You're constantly planning for every contingency, and it leaves you feeling restless and agitated. But here's the thing, anticipation is great, but obsessing over the future can stop you from focusing on what's happening right now. To combat future tripping, try temporal distancing. This technique involves mentally projecting yourself into the future, beyond the moment of stress. Imagine yourself 5 or 10 years from now, looking back at the situation you're currently worried about. How important is it in the grand scheme of your life or career? This can help put things into perspective, reducing the urgency and intensity of your worry. Another helpful tool is selective ignorance. Limit your exposure to unnecessary information. Stop checking your email or social media every 5 minutes, and avoid news sources or data that only heighten your anxiety. If it's not something you can act on right now, it doesn't need to take up mental space. Lastly, we have overanalyzing. This is when you dive too deep into a problem or decision, often getting bogged down in irrelevant details. You might delay making a choice, trying to research every possible option, or seek constant validation from others. To overcome overanalyzing, aim for good enough decisions instead of perfect ones. This is called satisficing, making a decision that meets your criteria without endlessly searching for a better option. Start by setting clear criteria for your decisions. This could be based on things like cost, potential impact, or risk level. Once you've met those criteria, move forward. Trust yourself to make a good enough decision and avoid getting caught up in endless possibilities. To sum it all up, overthinking can be paralyzing, but it doesn't have to control you. Breaking the habit of overthinking takes time, but with these techniques, you can start regaining your focus and making more confident, decisive choices.